everybody, and welcome to week 3. I hope you're all staying warm and getting a chance to enjoy the snow. I just wanted to give you a little overview of what we're doing this week, discuss a little bit about the assignments, and then tell you a little bit about how I'm grading for last week. So this week we're looking at something that is a core concept in corporate communication and public relations, and that's reputation. So reputation is that intangible asset that brings a company social capital and goodwill, that really combines the internal and external identities and gives stakeholders something to kind of latch onto or think about an organization. I'm not doing the greatest job explaining it now. I do a better job in the lesson, and your reading does a really excellent job of talking about the different components that make up a reputation. And probably you've all thought about how easy it is to destroy a reputation, even if it takes a long time to build up. And so we'll look a little bit into why that is the way it is as well. So to get you exploring further the concept of reputation, in addition to the reading and the lesson, there is of course a discussion and an activity. The discussion asks you to look at the rankings that are linked if you look on your syllabus, and I believe I have them in this week's folder too, and talk about your reaction to the companies that rank high or that rank low. Were you surprised, not surprised? What do you think it is about their organization that builds their reputation in this direction or this way? For the discussion, I do ask you to include a direct quote from the reading. And so that kind of shows me that you're doing the readings, but also teaches you how to make your own point while supporting it with outside sources. And that's a really important writing skill to have moving forward, especially if you're thinking about graduate school. So please be sure to do that to get full credit on your discussions. And then the activity strings together a bunch of clips from the movie Hancock with Will Smith. It's a kind of weird movie. I know it's based on, I think, comics, and so that's why it's got this weird dual storyline. So I have kind of edited it so that it focuses on the parts that talk about public relations. If you're not familiar, one of the main characters, Ray Embry, is a public relations professional. So there he kind of gives Hancock's reputation an overhaul, and so really you can, I think, see well the components that the reading talks about played out in this movie. So read through the directions. There's a couple of caveats in there, but read through. I hope you enjoy it. I didn't have total control over the editing process, so there's some language and there's some parts of the storyline that don't really fit with the lesson that are included, but it was kind of an all or nothing, so that's what we ended up with. It's still pretty entertaining. Who doesn't love Will Smith? So, and Jason Bateman, right? So it's good. And then that's it. In addition, we have the current event discussion lead response. So we had our first current event discussion lead posted this morning. You can find the link to the video as well as to the article in the current event discussion lead response folder in this week's folder. And so I encourage you have to respond to 3 different discussion leads throughout the semester. You might as well get started this week. And I encourage you to watch them even if you've already, at some point in the semester responded to the 3 that you have to respond to. I think they're almost always guaranteed to be interesting. Whenever I do this in class, it generates lots of discussion. So this week's discussion lead is about Inflategate, or Deflategate, whichever, with the New England Patriots and the deflated balls, or the underinflated balls, and the kind of scandal therein. I'm a Jets fan, so I get no small pleasure out of this story being so popular, but I am also glad that Neil posted about it because I think that it really taps into the idea of reputation as well. He makes some really great links to different public relations topics, including their crisis response and the directionality of their communication. But at one point, I believe he mentions, and my husband and I have also talked about this at length, the fact that because the Patriots have been caught cheating in the past, this kind of plays into people's expectations of them, and therefore gives the whole story more fodder than if it were perhaps a different team that had a better reputation. So keep all those things in mind as you view his presentation, and feel free to jump into that discussion forum and share your thoughts. Also, he touches on the idea of, and we've touched on this in class, not in this particular section, but I've touched on it a lot in classes, in the past in 401, in that the NFL is really kind of like a unique entity, because there's this umbrella organization, but then there's also all these teams, and so who becomes responsible for the behavior of individual players? So if you think back to the Ray Rice incident, or some of the other things that we've seen pop up over the last year or two, it's this weird connection, like whose reputation is really on the line, who's in charge, whose responsibility is it to penalize, and so on. So that's all kind of layered into the discussion lead as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoy that. And I've already started to dig in and grade your work that you turned in last week. If you'll notice, I graded and responded to all of the discussions from week 1, and then I graded and responded to, I would say, maybe half of the discussion entries from week 2, because it seems like the rule to use a quote from the reading was not entirely clear based on the number of people who didn't do it. I kind of just gave everybody, as long as they fully answered the question, full credit, but know that going forward, if you don't include a quote from the text or respond to 2 people, you won't get full credit for the discussion. And so you'll see my comments to you for week 2 and moving forward, not so much in the threaded discussion, but if you go to the grade book, you should be able to see it there. And if you have trouble finding it, let me know. So I think that's it. Feel free to reach out to me via email. Who knows what's going to go on in terms of office hours this week with all of the snow. My guess is we'll be closed at least through Tuesday, if not through Wednesday as well. But as long as my power holds out, I'll be available on email, so I encourage you to get in touch with any questions. One last thing. One person had written to me that she was having trouble getting far into the Hancock video. It was cutting off after the first scene. I've tried it in my browser and it's okay, but 9 out of 10 issues that you have with Angel are browser or Flash related. So in your syllabus, there's a link to an Angel support page that talks all about what browsers are supported. And Angel is weird. Your browser could be working just fine, and then all of a sudden, either the browser puts out an update, or Angel just stops working with it. So even if you've had success with a particular browser with Angel in the past, if you run into problems in this class, you may just have to try another one. And if you continue to have trouble, you can let me know, but that's pretty much my troubleshooting tip, so you might then have to contact Angel support. There's a link on the homepage of Angel, and they're actually pretty excellent about getting back to you in a timely manner. So for real now, I think that's it. Enjoy your week and stay warm and safe.